Thank you. You may be seated. What is this thing known as a calling anyway? What is a call, really? Is it a way of matching your skills to the job market? Can you find it in an employment guide? Is it a multiple choice test that tells you what type you are and where you'll find others just like you from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday? Is that where you find your calling? Is a calling a feel of joy, of completeness in your work? Is it what Karl Marx thought when we lacked when he said we were alienated from our labor? Is a calling a way of saying, this is part of me, this thing that I've created, this thing you see here, it's a way of seeing me? Is a calling straight from cherubim and seraphim? Is it burnt lips and angels singing? Is it a direct command and expected obedience? Is it a voice in the night, a whisper through the dark, so compelling that you eventually find yourself saying, "Here I am, send me"? Or is your calling the work of the 1,000 arrows of your life? The arrows that point to your hometown and your family, the ones that point to your education and that weird summer job, the ones that point to your greatest weakness and your greatest strength, the one that points to the darkest moment of your life and the one that points at your most profound joy. All these arrows of yours coming together in a way you never thought possible, coming together to point at a path you never saw before, a path suddenly flooded with light, a path suddenly garlanded with your name. Please sit with us in silence as we center ourselves.
Good morning. I am Sarah, she, her, and I am your service leader today. For the past 2 years, I have served as your treasurer trustee, so being a part of today's service feels especially appropriate. If you are visiting us for the first time today, you are especially welcome. If you have little ones, Wanda at the welcome table can show you the way to the nursery, which is available during the service for children ages 6 and younger. Kids are also very welcome here in the sanctuary. And please, and thank you for silencing your cell phones. The lighting of the chalice is a uniquely Unitarian Universalist moment where we celebrate the power and compassion of our community. Our chalice has its origins as a symbol of hope and liberation when the Unitarian Service Committee designed it for the documents that they were using to help European refugees escape Nazi persecution during World War II. Here in this community, we connect the lighting of our chalice with the words of our vision statement, which remind us of how we want to work together. Today, we invite Katie to come and help us with our chalice lighting. Katie is a rising 5th grader student at Lake Ridge. She loves theater and acting. As Katie lights the chalice, please join me in stating our vision statement, which is printed in your bulletin. We work together as a church to transform ourselves, our community, and our world by sharing love, pursuing justice, and seeking wonder. Part of how we work together to transform our community is through Social Justice Committee. Every 5th Sunday, about 4 times a year, the Social Justice Committee selects a 501c3 organization in the Tri-Cities to receive a special offering from the church. This fifth Sunday offering recipient is Tri-Pride. And at the end of the service, when we take up the offering, make sure to put your offerings to Tri-Pride in the right envelopes, and make sure that your checks are also addressed to Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. We will then give them one single check at a later date. This makes sure that everything goes to Tri-Pride instead of our general funds, so please use those white envelopes. I would like to welcome Justin Hall, the Tri-Pride president, to our pulpit to tell us a little bit about Tri-Pride's work.
Good morning. Please excuse me for using my phone with my notes. I started writing my thoughts last night, and I thought, my handwriting is atrocious now. I don't want to get in front of you fine folks and not be able to read my own handwriting, so it's kind of crazy. We're not used to writing anymore. So my name is Justin Hall. I am the president of Tri-Pride, Northeast Tennessee, Southwest Virginia's largest LGBT nonprofit. Thank you to Reverend for having us and the Social Justice Committee here. Usually you see my other colleague, Greg Griffey, who comes every year and talks to you guys, but he is out of town this weekend, so you get to see me. Yeah, thank you. The one person. No, today's message, I was looking on the website, is about leading with love. And I didn't know if I was going after you, so I hope I don't steal your thunder a little bit. But we as queer people and allies, we know what it feels like to live in a world that doesn't always meet us with understanding. We know the impact that words can have, the weight of rejection, and the power of being truly seen. That's why leading with love matters. Leading with love means choosing compassion over bitterness, even when we've been hurt. It means creating the kind of community we wish every queer person could find. A community where people are welcomed, celebrated, valued exactly as they are. Love is what inspires us to show up for one another. It's what drives us to advocate for equality, support of our transgender family and friends, uplift our queer youth, and care for our gay elders. It's what reminds us that our movement has always been strongest when we stand together. Leading with love doesn't mean ignoring injustices. It means confronting it without losing our humanity. It means fighting for a better future while remembering that every person deserves dignity, respect, and belonging. In a time when division can feel overwhelming, as we all know it currently is, our greatest act of resistance may be to keep loving loudly, living authentically, and building community with open hearts. Because love has always been at the center of our story. Love is why we fight as queer people and allies. Love is why we gather like we are here today. And love is how we move forward together. I am so grateful to have you all as amazing supporters and friends of Tri-Pride. We are one of the only LGBT organizations in the South, honestly, that welcomes religious organizations. And we are very excited about that. We love that because we're all different and we all worship differently. For those of you who do not know, anytime we receive funding, whether it's sponsorships or donations from the community, corporate sponsors, et cetera, that goes into the Tri-Pride Fund, which helps have monthly safe space events. It also helps fund the Tri-Pride Festival and Parade every year, which you all are always a great addition to. It also helps provide free STI, STD testing during our festival. which on the Tennessee side, that's a big deal because funding's being cut for that left and right. So we always try to be good stewards of our community's money. So I'm very grateful for you all. My time's up, so I'm gonna leave. But thank you all for having me, and I really appreciate you all so much.
Thank you for that message. When I'm preaching, I don't often get to hear something that inspires me because I'm doing the talking, and you really inspired me today. Thank you so much. Everyone, don't forget to put your Tri-Pride donations in the white envelopes that are enclosed in your bulletins at the end of the service. And we now invite you to come to this time of community support, contemplation and prayer with a quiet and attentive spirit all the way through until we sing our meditative hymn, which is meditation on breathing. Today, in this quiet space where all are loved and worthy of love, we remember all that we are joyful and grateful for. And I have a joy today. Right before today's service began, Don Gotterbarn and Lynn Johnson gave me this beautiful handmade stole. Don's wife, Lynn's mom, Shirley, made the yarn. And I love the color so much. And then they gave the yarn to Kim Ray, who wove it into this beautiful piece. The patterns remind me of seashells. I'll be out there if you want to get a closer look at it after the service. But I just want to say thank you so much to all of you. It just means so much to me and is a source of joy for me. Thank you. Today, in this quiet space where the things that we carry do not have to be carried alone, we remember all that we hold grief for and concern about. We have a candle for Ellender, who was admitted to the hospital on Friday. She is already back home, and she's gonna be okay. But she's just very tired and needs rest and all of our good energy right now. And we remember those who are not with us today, but are ever in our hearts and minds. And we entrust all that we are holding, spoken and unspoken, to the care of our community and to the forces of goodness and love that are available to each of us. We invite any who need to come to this table to light a candle for your joys or sorrows, or you may raise your hand and I will light a candle for you. Thank you, Sarah. And we light a final candle for all that remains unspoken in our hearts and minds. This Time for All Ages story is inspired by the ancient epic poem called The Conference of the Birds by the Persian Sufi Muslim writer Fariduddin Attar. And this story has been adapted by many hands for use in a Unitarian Universalist religious education setting. And I've got a few bird-like helpers for my story today, and I'd love for them to come up. Gosh.
Well, now I'm whistling.
Scientists tell us that when we hear birds singing, it triggers something in our ancient brains that let us know that it is safe from when we lived outdoors and were more subject to being attacked by wild animals. So thank you for the bird song this morning. Here's our story. Once upon a time, all the birds in the land decided they needed a leader for their community. A leader, they thought, would make their community stronger. Representatives of all the bird species gathered to discuss finding a leader. The robin was there.
A leader will tell us the right things to do.
And Owl came to share her advice.
Our leader must be wise.
And Sparrow raised her voice to be heard.
The leader must believe we are each important, big and small.
And Dove joined in.
I want the leader to be caring, like a friend.
And Blue Jay squawked out.
Yes, the leader can help us share and get along better.
I know where you can find such a leader that is all of those things.
Said the hoopoe bird.
It is the sea morgue, and it lives far from here.
The birds were very excited. They said they were willing to go anywhere to find such a leader.
It might be dangerous. It will be a long and perilous journey.
A few birds looked troubled, but all the birds voted to go and find the sea morgue. And so the hoopoe took off, and all the birds followed. They flew at night, and they flew in the sunshine. Days and days passed. Some birds got tired and left the group. Other birds were filled with doubt.
How will we know the sea morgue really exists? The hoopoe bird says she knows the sea morgue. Let's keep going.
Some of the doubters dropped out, but others kept flying, even in their uncertainty. One valley they flew over was filled with fiery mountains. All the birds were afraid.
I'm too small to make it over that mountain.
Oh, poor little sparrow.
Keep flying. We will make it together. We will help you.
And they did help each other. The strong flyers helped the weak flyers. The birds with good vision helped find food for the group. Along the journey, the birds learned how to better respect, share, and care for each other. It seemed that every bird had something special and unique to offer that made the journey easier. And then finally, after such a long journey, the hoopoe bird announced,
We are here.
Where is the Seymour? We don't see it.
Oh, come, it is over here.
The bird stood beside the hoopoe bird and realized they were on the edge of a lake. They looked in and saw their own reflections. And then they understood. The sea morgue was not another bird. The sea morgue was all of them, and all of them were the sea morgue. They remembered that each of them had something good and strong and special inside of them, and that each bird had gifts to bring to the community. They were all that was needed to keep the community strong. And they knew now that together they could do anything, and that together they were the leader that the birds needed. The end. Can we give our birds a round of applause?
River wide and river deep calls me to her side to protect and for her speak. Water, she says, it is time. Vast, vast oceans, bubbling creeks, all are friends of mine. From valley floor to mountain peaks, water, she says, it is time. They say that history is written by the victors, but how can there be a victor when the war isn't over? The battle has only just begun, and this time, Creator is sending her very best warriors. This time, it isn't Indians versus cowboys. This time, it is all the beautiful races of humanity together on the same side, and we are fighting to replace our fear with our love. Bullets, arrows, cannonballs will not save us. The only weapons that are useful in this battle are the weapons of true faith and compassion. So lay down your weapons, I come to be a stand for life. For all things thrive where water is clean. Water, she says, it is time. For all things thrive where water is clean. Water, she says, it is time.
Our newly elected board officially begins their work tomorrow. But many of them got an early start by attending yesterday's board retreat, where we did some visioning, some getting to know each other, and laying some important groundwork for our year of serving this church together. Today is the day that we commission and bless them for doing the work of governing the church, as well as thanking our board members who are completing their time of service today. And you all, who are also part of the flock of birds here, have a part in this. So I invite you to refer to the bulletin insert title called Commissioning Our Board. Our board comes from you and is elected by you. These are volunteers who love what we are doing so much that they are taking on the responsibility of governing the church. In the Unitarian Universalist Church, we don't really do top-down power. Instead, all power in Unitarian Universalist churches comes up through the congregation and is bestowed upon the leaders, including the ordained leaders, to carry out specific service for the good of the whole community. Today, then, we take this reality seriously by formally bestowing upon our elected leaders the authority they need to carry out the works of governance and leadership that we have assigned them. This commissioning is an opportunity to celebrate, bless, and support our elected leaders. We begin by offering our thanks to our board members who are completing their service. We hope you are proud of what you achieved, and we hope you can enter a period of rest. Not all of our departing board members could be with us today in person, but will be watching online. Noel, please stand. Noel, Sarah, Stephen, and Peggy might be in the kitchen even. Church family, please express your thanks with the words in your bulletin that say your part under commissioning our board. We thank you for your willingness to take on the responsibilities of leadership in our community. We thank you for your vision, your efforts, and the way you brought yourselves to our shared work. Thank you, and you may be seated. Incoming leaders need our blessing if they are to do what we have asked them to do. They need our affirmation and our support, for they are no different from the rest of us, yet they have entered into the ministries of leadership for all of our sakes. Not all our incoming and continuing board members could be with us today in person, but we want to commission their work nonetheless. If you're here and you hear your name called, please stand. Emily, Alesha, Tish, Chelsea, Greg, Phyllis, Tom, Debbie, Ramesh, and Brooklyn. Members of the board, this congregation charges you to be guided in your work by our vision, our covenant, our values, and our principles. We charge you with keeping sight of the big picture by holding our vision, honoring our past, and guiding us toward our future. Are you ready and willing to accept this charge? You may reply with, "We are."
We are.
Do you, the members and friends of this congregation, affirm these elected leaders as volunteers who need your support, your participation, and your appreciation, as well as your caring and concern? We do. Grateful for your willingness to take on the responsibilities of leadership in our community. We affirm your calling and vow to support your ministries of leadership in every way we can. We encourage you to take care of yourselves as you take care of us, and to remember that you are part of this community even while you lead us. Board members, you have a line to respond.
We thank you for your faithfulness and vow to do our
we have given. We promise also to remember that the ultimate responsibility for our church lies with all of us. For this is our home, our community. May we all do what we can to make it a home we can become.
Thank you, board members, and thank you, congregation. You all may be seated. Oh, and let's give our board leaders a round of applause. Today is a day for leaders, so let me start by asking you, are you a leader? You don't have to answer out loud, and I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I want you to fix the answer in your head. Are you a leader? Earlier this year, as Emily Hand was searching for someone to co-chair the Social Justice Committee so she could focus on being president this year, she reached out to Jenna Wingo as an emerging leader in the church to see if she'd be interested in going to Soul Summit and see if she would be interested in taking on this role in our church. And Jenna's response really surprised both of us because her reaction was really along the lines of, who, me? I'm not a leader. Yeah, the people who know Jenna are definitely laughing because we know that she is. And I could go on and on about her qualifications, her incessant positive attitude, the way her passion and leadership for immigrants' rights have emerged through the organizations in our community that she's been working with, her vision of a better world for all of us. But the point really isn't about Jenna specifically, but about how many people I encounter in this world that insist that they are not a leader, even as they are doing their best leadership work. Maybe some of this is because, in general, we humans closely associate leadership with positional power. And I really have not helped that perception by doing a Sunday about leadership on the Sunday that we're commissioning the board. So that's my pedagogical mistake. So what I want you to hear from me is that us board members, with our official positions that give us great power to shape the health and trajectory of our church, are absolutely leaders. And all of us here today are leaders too, just in different ways. Our board leaders are recognized and commissioned because we are taking on a significant role in the church. Your board leaders are so committed to our church's well-being that we spent all day yesterday creating a board covenant, building a vision for our year and our future, learning about our church systems, budgets, and yes, even Robert's Rules of Order. And we are spending time getting to know each other because leading is best done with a group committed to working together. In the journey of the bird story that we heard today, the birds did not discover a leader, the leader. Instead, they created a community in their search for leadership. They invested so much time and effort in understanding what their community needed. They helped each other through the challenges and obstacles of the journey, and together they became the leaders that they needed. The story is not as cliche as the power was within you all along, though I really do love those Kung Fu Panda-esque reveals. Instead, it is the journey, the struggle, sticking with it through the hardships, helping the smaller birds along, using their unique gifts, whether it be sight, endurance, or wisdom, to help the entire community get where they want to go. The journey was transformational. The journey made them leaders. And we are all on this journey, whether our leadership be an elected position full of power and responsibilities and to-do lists, or if our leadership invites us to smaller spheres of committee membership, teaching our kids, pulling up weeds, helping someone move, or washing the dishes. And I'm not separate from this journey either, but am flapping my wings too, sometimes with gifts to offer and sometimes in need of help rising over a particularly high mountain. Still also learning, still also being formed by the journey, and grateful to not be trying to fly alone. Sometimes this journey to leadership can feel pretty heavy, which is why I'm so glad we're doing it together. As we beat our wings toward our shared vision of a beloved community, we create updrafts that help those following us rise more easily. When we take turns leading and turns supporting each other, the journey becomes easier for everyone, and we know that helping each other along the way is a big part of how the journey is transformative. I'm such a work in progress that I often look for examples of good leadership that I can emulate. And I saw a lot of that here in this church this last year as people learned how to have hard conversations and work with each other as they found their way and found the church's way too. But one of the best examples of leadership that I still try to emulate was from a camp counselor back when I was still a teenager. The summer between my junior and senior year of high school, I spent a week at a very outdoorsy kind of camp. I was there for the whitewater rafting, which is still one of my favorite adrenaline-filled activities. The day of rock climbing and rappelling wasn't even on my radar until I was stepping into the harness and being shown how all these pulleys and belays work. I watched some of my fellow campers make their way slowly up the rock, finding and working with the natural handholds that nature had provided. And then once they got to the top, changing up their rig and rappelling down that same rock face with whoops of joy. And then suddenly, it was my turn. I was about halfway up the rock when I slipped. The harness caught me. Physically, I was fine, but I got a really big scare. I made it up the rest of the rock because I really didn't feel like I had another choice. But when I got to the top, I was shaking. I had created or discovered a brand new fear of heights at the worst possible time. As soon as I got to the top of the rock, I looked my camp counselor right in the eyes and just burst into tears. I could not, would not rappel down. I would just have to stay at the top of that rock forever. Because that was way too scary, and I can just not jump off this rock on purpose that I had just climbed up. Knowing what I know now about being an adult with kids, about leading groups on adventures, I can now see the whole scenario from his point of view. While I was having my freak out, the progress of the entire group was being held up. The rock was only big enough for 2 climbers at a time. So while I was sitting at the top crying and refusing to come down, his entire agenda for the day, which involved a lot of other teenagers' needs beyond mine, was completely wrecked. But in those moments, I didn't hear any sighs of exasperation or see a rolling of eyes. He didn't give me a really reasonable explanation of the agenda that we were trying to keep or how I needed to think about how my distress was affecting everyone else. Instead, just from listening to me and getting to know me for the previous 3 days, he knew what I needed. He put a steadying hand on my shoulder, breathed with me, and asked me if I wanted to pray about it. I was a weird teenager who was actually into all that prayer stuff. He knew this, and so of course I said yes. And during that prayer, I felt a calm wash over me. And while I now can attribute the effectiveness of that prayer to actually taking a much needed moment to release my fear and tension and get out of that fight or flight state by engaging in a spiritual practice, in that moment, why it worked didn't really matter. I just felt supported enough, loved enough, actually, and was able to access an authentic sense of calm, solid enough that I was willing to give it a try to rappel down that rock. And guess what? It turns out I really like rappelling. Flying down that rock was exhilarating. His willingness to be present with me in my fear, to put the rest of the agenda aside and act out of compassion, to treat me like a person rather than a problem, it was the only thing that would have got me off that rock, y'all. And his wisdom and experience that knew that everything would be okay. And he knew, or at least suspected, that I would love the second part of the adventure as much as I had hated the first part. All of that experience, all of that compassion came together in a gift that turned a horrible experience for me into an amazing one. That's the leadership that the Council of Birds found together as they helped the smallest birds over the mountains. And that's the leadership of the church that loves everybody. What leadership are you being called to this year? If you know, that is awesome. I hope you find the collaborators and companions that you need for your journey. And if you don't know, it's my prayer that the needs of our wide community and that your great passions for this world intersect in such a way that you find your own transformation and your own birds to fly with. May we be blessed in our journeys, and may we all be blessed as the leaders that we are and the leaders that we are becoming.
Blessed are you who hold the threads, who trace a through line, who tack the climbing rope for this team's journey. Blessed are you who tug twice, 3 times to check. Such precious weight this thread supports. May it hold, may it hold, may it safely lead us together where we couldn't go alone. Blessed are you who weave your thread with many others to welcome, to warm, a warm blanket, a tapestry, a climbing rope, holding history, guiding the journey, a square with mat and shine to rest beneath a warm bowl of food. Blessed are you in your picking up and your setting down, or letting another join and weave, or letting this design muddle or rest in the background for a spell. Nothing is lost. All is love. You are still a weaver. There will still be warmth and bread. In every culture, to dance is to trade places. Bless your intention to love, to comfort, to draw close, to weave beauty, coherence, symmetry, to yes. All masterpieces contain flaw, a broken and inscrutable beauty that we did not create, nor can we remove. No weaver works alone, and no weaver works without ceasing, but the great weaver, seed, movement, flourishing, rest, unraveling, rebirth. Each climber stops to feel the wind's embrace, to admire the trail, to rest, eat, reorient, tending to what is sore, and allowing inspiration to unfold. Rarely in words, but in color, in pattern, in the nostrils, and the tips of our fingers, in yearning and rest, what we sought finds us. Thank you for being with us today. We hope you can stay for coffee hour, which is right through those doors. We also have a lunch and a show coming up, not today. We'll share a potluck lunch together after church on August 16th. Then at 1 o'clock, Flamey Grant brings her quick wit and unforgettable music to your HVUC family. She can make you laugh, make you cry, and make you celebrate the light in every one of us. Our hands team is getting up and running, and we are looking to recruit anyone who can lend a helping hand. This is a team that will help people who have a need for helping hands with moving and yard work. You can email helpinghands@hvuuc.org to be added to their list, or see the back of your bulletin for more information. While you're there, you can also read about the next Women's Night in the same place, the back of the bulletin. On this Wednesday, June 3rd at 7 p.m., we will be having a special Zoom meeting for anyone interested in learning about what voting items are on the agenda for the Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly. Every summer, the churches of the Unitarian Universalist Association send their delegates to learn, worship, and vote on important matters of the association. And our delegates go to represent all of us. So every year, we offer a chance to learn about what's coming up for a vote, and a chance for all of our members of the church to give their delegates feedback about how they would like them to vote. You can get a Zoom link to this meeting by visiting the events page on our website or by emailing Reverend Tiffany at minister@hvuuc.org. And we have one last announcement from Reverend Tiffany.
This one takes a little explaining, so I was like, maybe I should just get back up here and say this. For many years, I've wondered if we could be doing more to support the young families in our church. Frankly, I think it's difficult for a 7-year-old to sit through our church services. I think the first half, with the opening singing, candles of community, special music, and of course the time for all ages story is pretty great for the kids. And that there's enough that's interactive, and I really love that they get to be a part of our collective worship experience we're all sharing. I love it when they come up to light candles. They're learning how to play with fire here in a controlled environment, and that's wonderful, and I want to keep supporting that. So I think where it falls flat for our kids is the second half of the service. There are exceptions, of course, like flower communion and more dramatically presented services like Festivals of Light and our Halloween service. But for the normal Sundays, like today, I have longed for an environment for our elementary-aged kids where they can have their own thing for the second half of the service. Especially because I know that there are families that come to RE and rarely stay for this church service. And I can't blame them if staying is just going to be an exercise in trying to manage restless and bored children. So when Jess Ox came on board as Director of Religious Education, she loved this vision that I have carried for an alternative for this age group and has offered to co-create it with me. There are many steps from vision to reality as I have discussed this vision with church leaders, the most logical course of action to take the first step has taken shape, and that is to have an all are welcome interest meeting to discuss two very important questions. The first question is, do parents of elementary aged kids actually want alternative programming for their kids to be at during the second half of the church service only, or do they have reasons for wanting to keep their kids sitting through the entire church service that I just haven't thought about yet? And then the second question, which I think is going to be the harder question, is do we have the volunteer support to pull this off? To that end, we will be holding an interest meeting next Sunday after church about providing alternative program for kids in kindergarten through 5th grade or equivalent ages during the second half of the Sunday service. Parents of kids K through 5, anyone interested in volunteering to work with this age range, perhaps once a month or perhaps every other month, and any who are curious about a potential trajectory that we might take with this to support our young families are very welcome to attend. If you're just curious about what my latest pet project is, you're welcome to attend. Childcare will be provided. You will want to bring a bag lunch or a light snack. The meeting will be here in the sanctuary from 12:30 to 2 p.m. on Sunday, June 7th. Whether you can make the meeting or not, I would also really value hearing your feedback via email at my email address, minister@hvuuc.org, or I would love to have a chance to meet with you face-to-face or have a phone call with you about this vision, especially if you're a parent or a volunteer, but I'll talk to anyone who will stand still long enough. So that's what we're up to next Sunday. And if any of this applies to or interests you, I hope you'll join us for the meeting or give me a call. So, our closing hymn. In keeping with our theme that all of us are leaders, our closing hymn is Wake Now My Senses, which is in the gray hymnal and also on the screens. I believe there are 5 verses, but they're good verses. Not on the screens, sorry. Sometimes I just read the script. While we sing, the offering plate will be passed. If you're paying your pledge, please make sure to mark it as such. And note that today is the very last day to get your pledge payment in for this fiscal year because our church calendar ends today. So we'll have a new fiscal year starting tomorrow. And don't forget, if you have a donation for Tri-Pride, please make sure to put it in your white envelope. So Wake Now My Senses is number 298 in the thicker gray hymnal. Let's rise in body or spirit to sing our closing hymn. Generosity this week and every week. May your gifts nurtured our shared ministry and the world we have been called to love. Here's our benediction. May justice lead us to the calling of this moment. May wonder meet us right where we're at. May we discover our collaborators and our companions. And may love guide us on our journey of transformation. Blessed be, amen, and go in peace.
Yay.